Hey there, my mystical little munchkins. Thank you so much for joining me for a deck unboxing. It is a very exciting and happy day for me in my world because I'm going to be unboxing Kimberly from Fables Den's Way of the Panda Tarot. It looks like an incredible creation. I have definitely seen it around as people have done their unboxings and walkthroughs and things like that, but I have never sat down and watched a full unboxing or walkthrough or really looked that much at the details about the imagery because I knew that I was going to be able to unbox one of these for myself. So I really want to thank Kimberly for giving me the opportunity to look at this deck and work with it. She sent this to me and wanted to know what were my thoughts about it, what are my feelings on it, and I'm about to get into all of that right now with my first impressions. So this is going to be very exciting. I'm glad that you could join me. I, like pretty much every other reasonably sane human being in the known world, fucking love pandas. And I also happen to love everything that Kimberly creates. I love her illustrations, her cute cartoons, the way that she does illustrated spreads and things like that. If you are not familiar with Kimberly, if you're not familiar with Fables Den, get into it. I'm going to leave her channel down below and social media and stuff. She's just an incredibly creative soul. She is a visionary and I feel very excited to be able to get my hands on Way of the Panda. So it's been way too long that I've had this in my possession. I'm going to start ripping it open right now. I've done the amateur thing, as I always do, and not brought a pair of scissors. So depending on how easy this is, I might need to love you and leave you while I go and get some. Let's see. Maybe a little bit fiddly. Darlings, I know that this light is leaving something to be desired. It's because I've only just sort of woken up and gotten ready for the day. So I didn't really want to put my soft light on and put it right in my face because I kind of thought it would be a bit like overwhelming. I might put my overhead light on and see if that is any better, a bit less ugly to look at, a bit less yellow. But please be aware that as with all of my unboxings and first impressions of decks, there will be detailed cutaways which will be filmed for you in much nicer lighting because I'm just kind like that. So you'll definitely be able to see in the cutaways what things look like a lot more. I did have to go and get a pair of scissors, I'm afraid, to try and get into this very well put together package from Kimberly. I'm very excited to have this imagery to play with. I think it's going to be one of those decks for me, which is incredibly sweet and endearing. And I know I'm going to take it to my heart. I knew that already when I saw the preliminary images and said, yes, I would like to play with this deck, send it over. I knew then that it was just very beautiful. It's such a lovely concept. And I knew it was going to warm my heart. But I've also got a suspicion that it's going to give very meaningful readings and that it's going to be one that I will reach for clients. So these are my predictions. Okay, I am in. Oh, wow. Look at this great big book. The accompanying book is very hefty. Oh, I love that. The Book of Pandas, the official guide to walking the way of the panda by Kimberly Sand, illustrated by Celia LaBelle. Wow. I mean, this looks amazing, darlings, for the accompaniment book. I will talk you through a little bit more about what is inside of this in a mo. What else is in here? Oh, wow. You've got this absolutely gorgeous panda paw carry bag for the deck, which is gorgeous. Thank you for that, Kimberly. That looks absolutely lovely. And it looks like I've also got a spread cloth here. How awesome. Oh, this is so gorgeous. This has got the key image there on it with the stars around and the bamboo. And look at that facial expression. It's just so cute and adorable. Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you, Kimberly. That's beautiful, darling. Kim and I actually go back quite a long way now. Would you say that's true, darling? I would say that's true. I'd say we've known each other for quite some time now. And she's always been just such a little spark of inspiration for me on my journey. I know a lot of people feel that way about her as well. Okay, so Way of the Panda Tarot. Here it is in all its glory. That is a really beautiful box as well. It says on the back, A splash of zen, a brush of Tao, a touch of whimsy, and tons of furry adorableness. A deck for serious chillers, carefree wanderers, and panda lovers in dreamy watercolour. Oh, amazing. This looks so beautiful. This is the Kickstarter edition, which I think means there are 4 bonus cards. I do not know what the 4 bonus cards are, because as soon as I found out there might be 4 bonus cards in here, I just literally decided not to look at them, like look at their names, look at anything about them, because I want to be excited, inspired and surprised. So I think there's going to be some extra cards in there, which is really cool. Darlings, as I'm just getting my way into this with these scissors, I thought it'd be a good time to let you know, when I film an unboxing, I don't show all of the cards, so it's certainly not like a walkthrough. Sometimes I do end up showing about half the deck. I'm going to try and do a little bit less than half from now on. I do think my unboxings could stand to be just a little bit sort of slimmer, not quite so in depth, not quite so many cards shown. It makes it a lot easier for me to edit, and I think it makes me more enthusiastic about doing them. So I don't know how many cards I'm going to show, maybe 20, 25, something like that. But it will give you a good taste, a really good sense of what this deck is all about, what it's like, whether or not you might enjoy to work with it, without giving away all the secret sauce and giving away sort of like the whole shebang. I also want to mention that I will be interviewing the lovely, wonderful creatrix of this deck, Kimberly San. She will be coming onto my Deep Chat series soon, so I'm very, very excited that she actually agreed to come onto my channel to talk a little bit about the process of making a tarot deck, you know, the creative issues that might arise, the technical stuff that you might need to know, and also what it's like to create a tarot deck and know that it's out there being used in the world, you know. And we're going to talk tarot, I'm sure. We're going to talk about lots of card slinging goodness. So I want to assure you that that is coming. This is a very sturdy box. Lovely, really, really nice one. I know that's going to look really good on the shelf, and I'm going to use this, I think, for other things, but it is really beautiful. But that box will not need to be replaced for quite some time. Now, before I go through, I've just opened the box. So before I go into the little white book and get into this beauty that is the Way of the Panda Tarot, I'm just going to talk a little bit about what is in the big book, the big accompanying book, because I know this is going to be something that's important for many of you. I've got to say, like, it is really sumptuous looking, very meaty. There's a lot to it. Okay, so the contents is the deck origin story, which is great. How to use the book, how much of a panda are you, know thy panda self, entering the panda kingdom, an interactive panda journey, tarot journey, sorry. And then you've got the major arcana, major pandas with some major wisdom to impart. And then the minor arcana, the elemental pandas, split down into the 4 suits, the fire pandas, air pandas, water pandas, and earth pandas. Okay, awesome. This is looking beautiful. And there's all these gorgeous little motifs here in the book. At the beginning of each chapter, you've got the little motif. Then you've got the chapter in quite large lettering. And this is just really satisfying. You've got a panda personality quiz in here, where you can take the quiz and then do your total score, and it explains to you, are you a cute panda? Are you a part-time panda? Are you a panda in human skin? Or it says here, the inner panda is strong with this one. So you can get one of those 4 results. I am so doing that today, and I will let you know down below which panda type I am. Then you've got panda spreads for pandas of all levels. And it goes through and shows you some really nicely detailed spreads there with the spread positions marked. This is great. Let's have a look how much detail there is for each of the cards, because I know that's another thing that people do want to know whenever I do unboxings. Okay, so you have got a double page of explanation for every card. And then for the major arcana, it looks as though you are also given an associated spread. So if that is true for every single one, yeah, it is. Then it means that for the 22 majors, you've actually got a different spread design that is related to every card. So here's the full double page interpretation here. And then you've got a little sort of breakdown here with some main points on it, if you just want that for quick reference. Then you've got this spread called the Party Hat. Wow, so this is the full related spread that she's made. The Magician, just to give you another example. So the Magician here, you've got the two-page spread, two-page layout of info about the card. Then you've got a spread design called the Magic Hat. That's really awesome. Okay, then you've got the High Priestess, 2 pages of info, and then you've got the Lunar Circlet spread. So every single Major Arcana card is giving you spread magic, tarot spread magic. So what could be better than that? That's just such a gift, Kimberly. This is really, really in-depth and beautiful. Let's have a look at the Minor Arcana. You've got here some details about, hang on, let me just make sure I'm doing this correctly. So Suit of Wands, for example, comes up. You've got that beautiful wand motif there. And then it gives you some details about what the energy of the Suit of Wands is all about. That's really awesome. And then it goes into a spread design called the Kung Fu Panda spread. Oh my God, this is so cute. Oh, the spread positions include the Hero Rises, the Ultimate Move, Fighting Stance, Stretch Set, which I suppose is the stretching you do at the beginning. Amazing. Then you go into Ace of Wands, 2 of Wands, and everything has 2 pages of detail. And you've just got these lovely little subheadings that give you so many ideas. With Ace of Wands, the subheadings are: what fuels you with power? Is someone tailgating your butt with a hot torch? Oh, it's amazing. This is really beautiful. 2 of Wands says, don't forget to check your compass. The world is yours. This book is evidently a really, really useful one. Very engaging, really lovely accompaniment. You feel that it's written in the voice of the author and creator of the deck, which is really important. You can tell that Kimberly has threaded herself through this accompaniment book, and just so pleasing to look at as well. Okay, so now we go into the little book that is inside the deck. The little black and white book, she's called it, which is clever because, of course, traditionally it's called a little white book, but pandas are black and white, so I like that. Table of contents is inclusive of the five suits, obviously. How to use the wild cards. So the wild cards are in here. I'm looking forward to seeing the wild cards. Beginning your tarot journey. Beautiful. Lots of info in here. You've got the lovely little motifs again. So, yeah, there's the one for swords. These are really beautiful. And yeah, just like a little white book, you've got the little bit of detail, bit of writing for each of the cards. So your Ace of Swords, 2 of Swords, 3 of Swords, 4 of Swords. And there is the main message, light attributes and shadow attributes in the breakdown. So really, really good. This little white book is one of those that can be cherished, savoured, and definitely isn't just going to find itself at the back of the tarot shelves not being used. I think you will get some really good use out of this. There's also a very cute baby panda on the back of this with the 4 tools, the pentacle, sword, chalice and wand, and also a couple of little tarot cards. So cute. Can you see it? Yeah, look how adorable that is. Oh. Kim, honestly, oh, you're breaking my heart here, honey. You're melting my heart. You're making my heart feel like a jammy Dodger biscuit that's trapped down the back of a hot radiator at Aldi. Oh, it's lovely. Okay, let's get into what I'm sure is just going to be an astoundingly beautiful deck. The cardstock is feeling good, darlings. I know a lot of people do ask me about that. You've got a bit of flex and bend in there. You're not going to be able to shuffle super violently or, you know, really hard, but certainly you'll be able to get a shuffle on that, and I don't think you're going to have to worry about it bending. At the back here, we've got some details about Kimberly. It says, the pandas and I love you now and always. That's the creator picture. You've also got a beautiful picture of the illustrator here, Celia Labelle. Art is and always will be my true passion. That's why I've drawn this deck with all the love of my heart. I hope you start a wonderful journey with it. Amazing. This is just going to be a beautiful concept to see executed. These are the card backs. I will also show you a cutaway of the card backs as well. So you should be looking at the cutaway right now. Really beautiful imagery. You've got those butterflies there and the moons in the background. Lovely. Okay, so I'm going to go through, have a look, just talk you through the feelings that I'm having about a few of the cards that I'm seeing and really loving. So let's do this. Whew, I had to get up to get a blanket there actually. It's a little bit cold at the time of filming. January in England is not mucking about. Okay, so let me have a quick look through this deck and I'll talk to you about some of the imagery that I'm really enjoying. And as I said, I will show cutaways of the imagery as well. Well, the Magician has a witch's hat on, so straight away I'm really happy with that. That's beautiful. And I really love this sort of splashed rainbow paint vibe behind the actual panda, and I think that's a recurring theme throughout the deck, the sort of rainbow paint splatters. So if you're into that kind of thing, Way of the Panda Tarot has that in abundance, and it definitely just makes me feel very fizzy, very invigorated. So that's beautiful. That's a really majestic interpretation of the Magician card there. And I also have to mention the High Priestess. The High Priestess has this really beautiful headdress with a star and moon on it, and it's just really like quite fine, and it's got all these draped elements to it. You can see obviously this beautiful colour of the sort of jungle environment around her, lots of pink hues and purpley blues, and that crescent moon there as well. And I really just like the way that the High Priestess is posed as well against that, looks like a piece of giant bamboo. She just sort of seems to be looking up, stargazing, or sort of deeply contemplating and meditating. So I really enjoy that interpretation of the High Priestess as well there. It is business time for the Hierophant card in Way of the Panda Tarot, darlings. Look at this amazing Hierophant wearing a tie with sort of a very businessy, stiff white collar there. You've got the glasses on. And sort of like chewing on a reed and being very thoughtful and very serious about the endeavour that is being undertaken. There's a really interesting sort of prism effect that's happening where you've got the sort of clear light going through into the sort of brain area of the panda, into the head, and then exploding from the other side as the beautiful colour spectrum. So I think that's something really interesting to think about with the Hierophant, this idea that something could go in, the information maybe could go in, the lessons, etc., but then it can emerge in this very innovative, very dynamic, creative way. And it's just sort of through that learning process that perhaps that magic comes through, that process is actually underway. I've just taken a quick look through the accompaniment book here at the Hierophant card and the information about this guy, and it says here he's the panda with the smug glasses, and he never goes anywhere without his tie. The Hierophant chews on a strand of bamboo grass, clicking his tongue and giving you a cocky point of his chin. You're here to learn from me, I reckon, he begins. Straighten your pants, you filthy millennial. Amazing. Oh my goddess, I love, love, love the Chariot card. This is really lighting me up. This is adorable. I love that sort of biker's hat, I'm not sure what it's called, with the goggles. And then you've got these really colourful, very sort of prismatic, beautiful wings coming out either side of the motorbike. And I think I'm also just enjoying to see a panda on a motorbike. You know, I don't think anything can quite go wrong there. So that's a really strong interpretation of the Chariot. Very joyful, very boisterous, very funny, but also, yeah, really sort of very memorable. I think it captures your heart, it captures your attention, and it doesn't do away with anything of the main themes of the Chariot. It really just feeds into them in a very unique way for this deck. So I really enjoy the Chariot card there. The depiction of the Justice card is very funny in Way of the Panda Tarot. You can see one of these pandas wanting to sort of come towards the panda in possession of the sword, in fighting stance, you know, obviously about to get up on the hind legs, about to get into fighting mode. And then the panda that actually is wielding the sword is just sticking his foot in the other panda's face, like, nah, not today, bruv, not gonna happen. That's it's just a really comical interpretation of justice that I really like. And it gives me almost this impression that justice doesn't always need to be hard won. It doesn't always need to be something very fierce or solemn or violent. It can literally be a case of just being very cool, very zen, very chill with what you're doing and what your beliefs are, and knowing that you don't ever have to be in a position to be demeaned or to be overthrown. You can just really use your reflexes as and when you need to make sure that you're always in a position where justice is being fought for and you're getting what you need and deserve. Ooh, the Hanged Man is a really interesting position that this poor little panda has found itself in, where it seems to be upside down with what I assume is a tickly feather on the nose. So maybe trying not to sneeze, maybe trying to stay very still, because it's surrounded by flies, wasps. Are these fireflies though? Hang on a second, wait a minute. I thought this was supposed to be sort of like, you know, a position you've got to get yourself into where you sort of stay there so that you don't get stung. Let's have a look. Oh, it's fireflies. So it says here, the fireflies gather around the hanging panda whose arms are shaking from the strain. This is terrible, he thinks, and he can't seem to remember how he's gotten himself into this embarrassing situation. Yet he does not dare move. The feather on his nose, any time now, any time. So I thought, for example, I thought at first that these fireflies were actually wasps, and that he was trying not to draw attention to himself so he wouldn't get stung. But I quite like the fact that they're fireflies as well. I don't know if the fireflies have just arrived to laugh at his predicament, or if there's some other symbolic reason why they might be there. So I'll have to read through the book a little bit more on that one. But that is a very comical way of interpreting the Hanged Panda, so that's cool. I want to quickly mention the Devil card here, darlings, because I do think that this is very tough imagery. It's definitely creating for me a very deep emotion. And it's obviously a panda that has been chained and is in captivity, and the panda is screaming and crying, and you know, there's sort of a very dark black background there, a sense that things are dying, or things are not flourishing into life anymore. And that is definitely a very hard-hitting message for the devil. So I really think that's a brave interpretation there. And I wasn't expecting to be so sort of like pulled emotively into that image and its meaning. So wow, that's a really profound one. I really get a good vibe from Ace of Wands. I love this very groovy individual. I'm going to go with groovy because I think that is fair. This is a very psychedelic looking wand, and this panda seems to be about ready to make something happen. The cool shades are on, as if to protect this panda from the incredible magic prismatic rays of luminosity that are about to come into view when they really start using that wand to full effect. So that's a really nice thing to see. Five of Wands is a pretty adorable pile up of pandas there. You've got very sort of comedic feeling, very joyful, extremely cute. I mean, the adorableness of this is not something that can be underestimated or denied. This is very cute. This is top marks for panda related cuteness. To me, with Five of Wands, I quite like the idea that it's been this almost like comedic, silly pile up that looks like a bunch of pandas at play, because I'm just wondering if it might have started a little bit like a heavy conflict, but then actually descended into this situation where you kind of have to see things for what they are. You have to see the, you know, have some perspective on the situation and maybe try and see the funny side of it, try and see the light side of it. So that's what it brings up for me, that this particular image, definitely. Okay, Seven of Wands is completely badass. There is fire licking up from the bottom of the image. You've got this panda in full fighting stance with the teeth bared, with kind of like the headband on, the karate headband on, and then yeah, these bamboo sticks like shooting towards Seven of Wands, and very much this feeling that action is going to happen. And it's really, this panda is mobilized. This panda is really believing in their ability to do something, to make something happen, to take on the world and take on the challenges. Oh, I really love Two of Swords. This is a really adorable image. I really like that the panda is having a cup of tea. That's very sweet. I love the thoughtful expression. The panda is not really sure maybe about what they're reading inside the book and whether or not the book is providing the answers for them that they need. And you've got those two crossed swords almost on the wall above the panda, behind the panda, above the panda's head. And there is very much this sense of not really being able to fully rely on what is known about the situation from the book, but having to really go into what is going on in your higher mind, what is going on in the gut. What do you think you know about the facts of the situation from what is going on at a deeper level than just what can be investigated from the facts, you know? I like the uncertainty there in the facial expression, because I think that's quite a big part of what Two of Swords is about. It's very cute. I love the scarf. So this is definitely a winner for me, this card. As many of you will know, Three of Swords is one of my all-time favourite cards in the tarot deck. I really love to look at the interpretation of Three of Swords. And this is a very hard-hitting one in Way of the Panda. You've got this open book that has been pressed against the panda's back and stuck into the panda's back with three swords. There is a heart carved into the log that the panda is lying on. And obviously the log that the panda is lying on symbolises a cut tree, which is really interesting in itself. And then there is a heart carved into that tree branch, that tree trunk, sorry. And there is blood dripping out of the heart that is carved into the tree trunk. And you've also got the glasses that the panda was wearing sort of falling off and cracking. And you can see those flecks of broken glass there where the glasses have fallen from the panda's face. And that could symbolise death. That could certainly symbolise the panda's lack of ability to be able to see things as they are anymore. And it's definitely, the whole thing altogether gives you a sense of desperation and struggle. You've got that grey-black rain coming down. It's a very sparse card in the background. You've got none of that rainbow colour. And I actually really like the fact that Kimberly has done really well to use the splashes of rainbow colour to represent things that when that rainbow colour is taken away, you instinctively know that those things are missing. That sense of energy, inspiration, aspiration, excitement, artistry. If those things are missing in one of the images, you really feel very keenly that it is missing, because you get used to the rainbow colours recurring. And when the rainbow colours are taken away, you know exactly the point that the artist is making, and you know exactly the concept that Kimberly is getting across here, that, like, you know, this is not a time where that rainbow energy is present. There is a lack of that rainbow energy in this image. I am really keen on Six of Swords in Way of the Panda. This is beautiful. I love the colours that have been used for the water. I love the falling of the, what I assume is cherry blossom petals. And I really enjoy that there is that paper boat made out of newspaper, or made out of paper with written words on it anyway. And the panda is kind of sort of pushed that off, I should imagine, and is sort of saying goodbye to that paper boat. I really enjoy the imagery of the paper boat, and I always have. So this is definitely a really good one for me. I love this. I think it works really well. Okay, Seven of Swords is just literally the most badass panda pirate I think I've ever seen. There is a peacock feather in the pirate hat, which is incredible. You've got the panda's tongue out touching his nose, which is epic. And I love the star that's dangling down from the sword. This could be one of my favourite cards in this deck, without doubt. There is so much character in this card, and it is so memorable. I would say this is even tattoo worthy. That's how much I love it. Nine of Swords in tarot always has a very bleak, tough message, you know. It tends to be about your anxieties, your nightmares, your fears, the things that are keeping you up at night, the things that are stopping you from really relaxing and being content and being at ease. And I think Nine of Swords in Way of the Panda represents this in a very interesting way. You can see that the panda that is sort of leaning downwards and reaching towards that nightmarish situation with the dark clouds and the zombie hands and the swords, that panda is wearing a night hat, a traditional sleeping hat, right? And you can see the panda above seems to be sort of trying to pull the panda that's going down into the nightmares, pull that panda back up and get it back into bed. You can see that there is a white quilt here and there are white pillows. So it's almost as though these are two pandas that have been sleeping, or one panda is the parent and the other panda is the child panda. But the panda on top that's trying to rescue the other panda is almost saying, like, you know, waking that panda up from a nightmare, or saying, don't go into those thinking patterns, don't go into that anxiety, come back, wake up, come back to the earthly realm. So I think this is a very interesting way of interpreting this card. I think this concept is really well executed. It's really beautifully done by the illustrator. And it's just very clever. If you look at what's going on down below in the sort of nightmare realm of Nine of Swords, I think you can even see headstones there. So you've got these gruesome sort of zombie hands, you've got the very grey clouds, the swords are reaching up jaggedly, and in a sort of very threatening way. And then I think you've even got, it looks to me like some parts of the clouds are kind of turning into headstones. And so there's really a lot of difficult content packed into that bottom half of the card. And then you've almost got this rescue mission going on above where one of the pandas is trying to help the other panda to kind of shake themselves out of obsessing over those aspects or dreaming about those aspects. I think Page of Swords is a little bit how I would like myself to be painted if there was going to be an old school painted portrait of me, to be honest. This looks like it could pretty much be it. There's a massive stack of books there. The glasses are on. I think on top of the books there seems to be a monocle, you know, like a reading glass that you put on your eye with a feather on it, which is very chic, very awesome. So I really like the feel of this particular page. Page of Swords is definitely getting my vote here. Queen of Swords is just a very, very cool parent, you know, with an extremely cool child. The matching shades, I love this. This is like one of those amazing outings that I can imagine having with my child that I'm never going to have. But if I did have, it would look like this. I would have the kid in like matching shades to me. I'd have my flower headdress on. I mean, this looks like a very cool outing with like the mum of all mums. So this is very interesting. And I wonder if there's kind of like a mentorship vibe here and an I can show you the world kind of feel. And I don't know, there's just something also a bit protective that's happening with Queen of Swords holding onto the sword, almost looking out for the kid as she kind of shepherds the kid in the world. So I just think that's an interesting interpretation there. The panda that we meet in Nine of Cups is definitely looking very self-satisfied, maybe quite proud, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, Nine of Cups is very often to do with something that has been amassed through experience and difficulty, and so you're actually in possession of these cups of emotional knowing and deep empathy and deep life experience. And I feel a little bit like this panda is showing that off, and also being very comfortable with the fact that, you know, they are in ownership of this kind of abundance, this kind of awareness. Of course, all the plants growing down from below, those tendrils coming down, I absolutely love that. I think that's really beautiful. The flowers and the greenery that the panda is sitting amongst is really beautiful. I love the panda's stance, the pose, the expression. There's something very sort of comfortable here. It's like this panda is very comfortable with what they have managed to develop, what they are in ownership of, and it's like they're almost inviting you in for a goblet of panda wine, which is really lovely. Page of Cups is probably one of the cutest fucking tarot cards I've ever seen in my natural life. I can barely handle it. Oh my good goddess. That is just rivetingly cute. Look at that hat with the cute little bobble on it. Look at the expression. Oh, that's beautiful. And I really like the way the fish scales have been painted as well. This gives me a really nice feeling. If this came up in a reading for a client, this would be a very cute and a very nice talking point. I really, really, really love King of Cups with that gigantic pink illustrious flower bursting up out of that chalice. I feel like King of Cups is rubbing a bit of a full belly, which I really like, because I often say that King of Cups is very in touch with what can be enjoyed by the five senses that you're provided for in your experience of life. So I think of King of Cups as liking to eat well, drink well and be merry, you know, to experience really the fullness of tangible living. So I like the fact that King of Cups seems to be sort of like sitting with his hand on his belly, you know, like kind of rubbing a nice full belly and feeling very contented. Love the expression. I love the way the little ears are poking out from beneath the crown. And of course, I love that big juicy butterfly in the foreground. That's really beautiful. Wow, Ten of Pentacles is a rich, rich looking bunch of pandas. They have got so much bamboo in the middle of them that they're all sitting around that I hardly think they know what to do with it. They have got lots of beautiful pentacles tied with red ribbons. There's a lot of abundance here. There's a lot of a feeling of flourishing. These pandas are well taken care of. They are well provided for. They've got a nice stock to last them through whatever it is they need to be lasted through. There is a sense that these pandas are okay and that they've worked together. They are connected together. They are communing around what they have amassed. There is a life here that has been developed and that is being protected and maintained. So that's a really nice image there for Ten of Pentacles. Oh, Queen of Pentacles is so cute. She's got a big pentacle handbag, or that's what it looks like anyway. and a really cute crown, very sartorial, and she's helping a little baby panda to learn how to climb up a tree. I mean, what could be more perfect than that? And you've got some autumn leaves in Queen of Pentacles, which is nice to see as well. So just really nice pop of colour there too, that it's sort of drawn my eye to it. Okay, I have reached the end of the cards that I want to show you. So I'm going to go into these 4 extra cards, the bonus cards that come with the Kickstarter edition of the deck. You've got the Caffeinated Panda, the Stargazing Panda, the Witchy Panda, and Dream Space. And there will be cutaways for all of them. Really interesting. I will have to sit down and think about what my perceptions are of those cards, but I would love to know if you guys have any thoughts on any of them as well. And I'm very excited to get started with working with this deck, experimenting with some spreads, seeing how long it will be before I feel like I want to break this out for clients, but I already know that I very much will want to. Kimberly, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to look at this incredible creation. I'm also very excited about your upcoming spread design deck that you're offering, and I'm going to be leaving all the details for that down below as well. And I'm very much looking forward to interviewing Kimberly on my Deep Chats video series here on YouTube. Let's get more into the creative process and talk to Kimberly about how that all fits together, how to deal with resistance, how to finish projects, because I know that a tarot deck is a fucking massive undertaking, isn't it? So it's really interesting to talk to an accomplished tarot deck creator who's made something that's so popular and so well loved about what it is that keeps the drive alive. How do they maintain that impetus that gets them over the finish line, you know? So I'm looking forward to talking to Kimberly about all of that. And until next time, darlings, much love and blessed be. Hello again, baby cakes. Thank you so much for checking out this unboxing of Way of the Panda Tarot. I just wanted to let you know that my newsletter is coming back to life this year. So if you enjoy watching my unboxings, please make sure you're signed up to my newsletter, because in a few days' time, I'm going to be unboxing the Naked Heart Tarot exclusive only for my newsletter subscribers. Don't forget, you can also join me for a lot more goodness and content and discussion over on Patreon. I will leave all the details for my Patreon options down below. Okay, much love.